We all know that module updates are very important. They give us, or really our clients, access to new features, bug fixes, security updates, all things that are critical to a website functioning well. And that's kind of what this question is based off of. It's actually kind of a recent situation of something that I had to work through where there was an important module upgrade that needed to happen, but there were some conflicting modules that were ultimately causing some problems there. So kind of the best approach to resolving that issue while being able to upgrade that module and apply, in this case, some very important security features. And obviously we know security is very important for a website. Something that recently highlighted this, especially the importance of security in relation to upgrading modules, was a project that I was working on recently where the former agency had not been as proactive as necessary in keeping the site updated. And the end result of that was there were some pretty bad security problems going on, the biggest of which was an actual security breach that was leaking some information about customers' orders. Obviously, needless to say, we got everything upgraded, we fixed the problems, and the client was happy. But it really highlighted for me the importance of keeping things updated, making sure things stay secure. That's ultimately what we're supposed to be doing as developers, making sure sites run well and stay safe. Now there are some great resources at SwiftOtter.com that go over a lot of different aspects of site maintenance, upgrades, things like that. And really there's information there that is good for beginner developers all the way to advanced. There's always something that we can learn, something that we could be doing better. There's always ways that we can improve. There's a quote that says that the biggest room in the world is room for improvement. And that is very true. There's always things that we can grow and develop. There's always ways that the sites that we are developing and taking care of can improve and do better as well. And SwiftOtter.com, we do our best to help make sure that you have the resources necessary to do that. So let's take a look at the question and see what we have to deal with. So you're managing a Magento 2 site where a critical security update has been released for ottersafe module security, bringing it to version 2.0.0. However, some existing modules rely on version 1.5.0 and aren't yet compatible with the latest release. And so here's the question. What approach should you take to implement the security upgrade while awaiting compatibility updates for the other modules? So again, as mentioned, updates are important. In this instance, it's something that needs to be applied as quickly as possible. Being that it relates to a security module, it is likely due, in this case, to actual site security. So again, something that needs to be done as soon as possible. We don't really have time to wait for the modules that are causing conflicts. We don't have time to wait for them to get updated and then to be able to just update everything together. We need to get this one specific module upgraded as quickly as possible. So, how do we upgrade that module individually when there are conflicting requirements? Let's look at the different options. So A, we can use a patch or patches to apply the relevant security updates individually to 1.5.0. For option B, we have utilizing Composer's inline aliasing to install the latest version as if it were the older one, using the command composer require ottersafe module security 2.0.0 as 1.5.0. And then finally we have option C, temporarily ignore version conflicts and install the latest version 2.0.0 of the ottersafe security module directly. Again, using composer require ottersafe module security, and then we have the important part of that being the ignore platform requirements tag. So now let's talk about the different options that we have available. For option A, it's a good option, and in many situations using a patch to apply the specific updates required is a good route to take. It's usually pretty quick, usually pretty simple. However, where we can run into problems with this approach is depending on the contents of the upgrade and the extent of the upgrade, this could be very time intensive or error prone. It could be difficult to make the required updates and make everything work correctly at the same time. Or at least it could be difficult to do that in a quick time frame, something that is appropriate for the client and for the site. Again, specifically depending on what the update entails. And furthermore, if there is no changelog, or if the changelog isn't very detailed, it's going to be very, very hard to figure out what exactly the change is. Again, something that is possible, but could take a lot more time than we necessarily have to work with. So option A is good, but does kind of vary on the circumstance. And then option B, again, taking a quick look at this, we have utilizing Composer's inline aliasing. And we have the command there requiring 2.0.0 as 1.5.0. Now this is another good option, and this one would be very appropriate for the cases in which option A wouldn't work as well. So again, to reiterate, a situation where there are very extensive updates, or in a situation where there is not a detailed changelog telling us what we would need to update in the patch. Using the Composer alias, we can just install the new version as the older version, so all of the requirements are going to be met, but we're going to get those important updates. Lastly, option C, we have ignoring the version conflicts by installing the latest version, but using the ignore platform requirements tag. Now this option could allow for some inconsistencies to pop up. It could allow for different conflicts, and really using the ignore platform requirements tag should really be a last resort. And in this case, we have two other good options, so we're going to go ahead and rule option C out. And so to further discuss options A and B, the two that we have left, in my specific scenario that I was working, option A wouldn't really work for me. I couldn't really do a patch for two reasons. There were some more extensive updates to the module that needed to be applied, and then also there wasn't a very extensive changelog. It would have been very difficult to figure out what the actual updates were that I needed to make. So in my scenario, to apply this specific update without having to deal with those different conflicts, I chose option B. And so out of our list of the three different options that we have, I am going to select option B as correct. But again, to reiterate, that depends on the scenario. Option A could have just as likely been correct if it was a smaller update, if it was something that, again, I had a good changelog for. I could easily go through, figure out what the changes were that I needed to make, and then make those in a patch. And obviously some different module providers provide a patch, and that would be the quickest, easiest way to apply that. So we have the two different options. In my case, B was correct, and as many people commented in the situations that they experienced, option A was correct for them. So there really is no definite winner for this question. Options A and B, depending on the scenario, could be correct for whatever exact situation you're dealing with. It ultimately comes down to the decisions that we have to make as developers, making sure that we keep the sites running safely, we keep them running smoothly, and we do that in a good time frame so our clients are happy. And also, as a quick side note, neither option had a benefit in removing it later on down the line. And what I mean by that is whether we use a patch and then reference it in the Composer file to get that to apply, or if we use the Composer alias, update the Composer file to add that alias, install the module version that we need. Either way, down the line, once the modules with those conflicting requirements get upgraded and we move on with that, we're going to have to remove that either way. So there's really no benefit there either for either one of those options. Both of them are going to require a little bit of work down the line. Now, thank you for everyone that posted comments or their answers and their thought processes behind them on the question. I appreciate that. Feel free to leave comments below if you agree or disagree or have more information. I'd like to read it. Thanks for watching.